What if I told you that everything you've been taught about self-confidence is a lie? We're shown that it's about being loud, projecting power, and faking it till you make it. But that's just a performance, and it's the very reason so many of us feel like imposters. My name is Dr. Bamanyayazada. I'm a clinical psychologist, and I used to believe those same myths. In this video, we're going to shatter those illusions and uncover what real, unshakable self-confidence truly is and how you can build it authentically. You've probably seen claims online that 85% of people struggle with low self-esteem, which often comes from mysterious, untraceable studies. While I couldn't verify that number, I can tell you that this is a core issue I see in my work every single day. For many, the problem starts in childhood, when we aren't taught that we have inherent value no matter what. This concept, known as unconditional regard, is the bedrock of genuine self-confidence. For others, it's more about the present. Our self-worth often acts like a social fuel gauge, rising and falling based on how accepted we feel. Whether it stems from childhood or your current social circle, a lack of confidence doesn't just feel bad, it affects how attractive we appear. Ask anyone what makes someone attractive, and confidence is almost always the first answer. Since it's such a prized trait, we fall into the trap of faking it, mimicking behaviors we think look confident. Psychologists even study this, asking people to act confident by talking loudly, spreading their arms, and making lots of eye contact. The idea is that if you act the part, people will believe it and find you more attractive. Now, you might think I'm about to tell you that faking it is a terrible idea, and you're right, but let's first acknowledge why it seems so logical. Why is confidence so attractive in the first place? As a nerdy psychologist, I looked into it, and the answer lies in something called the status signaling model. Basically, when we meet someone new, their confident behavior acts as a signal to our brain, making us assume they must be competent and have a lot to offer. This effect is so powerful that even incompetent people who act confident are often treated as if they're brilliant. If you've ever worked in a corporate environment, you've seen this in action. So, sending out these fake signals of confidence can be incredibly tempting to appear more attractive or successful. But there are two massive problems with this approach that I'm about to break down. Have you ever met someone who seemed confident at first, but the more you got to know them, the more you realized they were just trying way too hard? That's the first crack in the armor of faking it. Even if you manage the big signals, like a loud voice or taking up space, your true feelings will leak out in smaller, subtler ways. The famous psychoanalyst Sigmund Freud captured this perfectly when he said, "If his lips are silent, he chatters with his fingertips. Betrayal oozes out of him at every pore." This means no matter how hard you try to control your image, your true self eventually shines through. Faking it might work for a first impression, but over time, people spot the inconsistency. When your actions don't match your inner self, you risk being seen as inauthentic or even dishonest, and research shows this massively pushes people away. But the bigger problem, I would argue, is what it does to you internally. Living a life where your external behavior is a mask for your internal reality creates a deep sense of disconnection. Over time, this feeling of being a fraud can lead to anxiety, depression, and a life filled with regret. But here's the good news. You don't need to fake anything. Real confidence isn't about pretending to be someone you're not. It's simpler and entirely within your control. So let's redefine what a truly confident person looks like. Forget the stereotype we see in movies, the attention-grabbing leader who dominates conversations and doesn't care what others think. Is that person always dressed perfectly, achieving everything they try, and maybe even showing a bit of anger to seem powerful? Is that really confidence, or is it something else entirely? Here's the shocker. Psychological research paints a completely different picture. Studies show that people with high self-esteem are more likely to be warm, kind, and non-defensive. They're more likely to offer a genuine smile than an intense, dominant stare. They are humble, approachable, and build healthy, fulfilling relationships. That stereotype of confidence we see everywhere actually looks a lot more like overconfidence, sliding dangerously into narcissism. But wait, you might be thinking, didn't you just say that being bold makes you seem more attractive? Yes, but it's tricky, and this is because of what one scholar calls the chocolate cake effect. Narcissistic people, like a slice of chocolate cake, seem incredibly appealing at first glance because of that initial flash of overconfidence. But that appeal fades quickly when people realize they lack warmth and empathy. A narcissist might look like they have a lot to offer, but they rarely follow through. This is why research shows people are actually more attracted to those with moderately high confidence, not extreme confidence. Extreme confidence often acts as a red flag, signaling potential narcissistic traits that many people want to avoid. So if confidence isn't the loud, arrogant performance we've been sold, what is it? I struggled with this for years, trying to project an image I didn't feel, until I stumbled upon a solution that changed everything. Let me share the moment that redefined everything for me. What if I told you that real self-confidence has nothing to do with feeling great or being better than others? What if it's about being faithful to yourself? The word itself gives us a clue. Fidens comes from the Latin word fidus, meaning faithfulness, and con means with. So, confidence literally means with faithfulness to the self. To truly burn this into my mind, I started calling it self-fidelity. Here's the key. To practice self-fidelity, you don't need to impress anyone. You just need to know who you are and own it, whether people approve or not. For example, instead of worrying how I appear in a high-pressure situation, I ask myself, what is true for me right now? If I want to talk to someone, I approach them, even if it feels scary. In a discussion, I share my honest opinion, even if it's unpopular. If something bothers me in a relationship, I choose to speak up rather than avoiding conflict. You don't need to be perfect, wealthy, or have the ideal body to be self-confident. You just need to be authentic. The research confirms this. Authenticity, the heart of self-fidelity, builds a sense of self-worth that isn't tied to external achievements or other people's opinions. This means you become less dependent on outside validation for your self-esteem. And let's be clear, there is no single look for confidence. The loud, extroverted person at the party can be confident, but so can the quiet person who listens intently before sharing their thoughts. Even the person who chooses a solo movie night over a party can be acting from a place of deep self-confidence. I've met countless deeply confident introverts and extroverts. What they all have in common is the ability to stay true to themselves. That is self-fidelity. When I started living this way, my entire world shifted. My confidence grew authentically over time. But if self-fidelity is the key, why isn't everyone already doing it? The answer lies in a fundamental human conflict we all face, the battle between being accepted and being authentic. We are terrified of losing the approval, connection, and love of those around us. So we often sacrifice our authenticity to maintain that acceptance. But here's the powerful truth. The moments you risk that connection to be your true self are the very moments you build real self-confidence. That's when your self-fidelity shines brightest. And I want to emphasize something critical here. Being self-confident doesn't mean you need everyone to agree with you. It doesn't mean you have to convince others that you're right. It simply means owning who you are and where you stand. This is what makes self-fidelity so powerful. It allows for countless ways to show up in the world. It doesn't just make you feel good, it earns you respect. When you stop being a people pleaser and start being true to yourself, people notice and treat you differently. If you act as though you are valuable, people will believe it and treat you accordingly. But if you act like you don't matter, others will simply follow your lead. For many of us, the problem isn't that we need to be more likable. We're already warm and caring. What we need is to balance that warmth with self-fidelity. When you mix likability with owning your worth, it becomes an unbeatable combination. You show that you care about others, but not at the expense of devaluing yourself, which is a deeply attractive quality. Honesty and trustworthiness, two traits at the core of self-fidelity, are consistently ranked as the most desirable traits in a partner. Being authentic signals that you can be a reliable partner and reduces fears of abandonment or manipulation, creating safety in a relationship. Interestingly, studies show we often underestimate how much others value our authenticity and how negatively they view it when we hide parts of ourselves. In relationships, this is a game changer. Believing your partner is authentic leads to greater happiness and less conflict. When partners share their genuine feelings, it creates a powerful sense of connection. On the flip side, hiding your true self has serious consequences. Suppressing your emotions increases stress and weakens intimacy over time, not just for you, but for your partner as well. At our core, we all want to be loved for who we truly are, flaws and all. This is why when someone tells me their partner is losing interest, my first question is often about their level of self-fidelity. It's easy to lose yourself, even in a good relationship. I've learned this the hard way myself. Being truly honest about your feelings isn't just about loving yourself. It's about loving the other person enough to be honest with them, even when it's uncomfortable. A client of mine once thought he was being loving by always agreeing with his partner. He was shocked when she lost attraction because he believed he was doing everything right. But having self-fidelity in a relationship is a deeper form of love. It's being willing to tolerate discomfort for the sake of honesty. Practicing self-fidelity doesn't just change how others see us. It profoundly changes how we see ourselves. I once did an experiment where I forced myself to face rejection repeatedly. At first, my confidence tanked, but as I continued, something amazing happened. My confidence started rising from a new source, not from external validation, but from being faithful to myself. I remember thinking, I feel so confident now, not because people like me, but because I like myself. And the funny thing was, as soon as that shift happened, people started liking me more too. Research consistently shows that authenticity is strongly linked to lower anxiety, higher self-esteem, and greater happiness. So to put this into practice, I started looking for small, daily opportunities for self-fidelity. This included things like practicing disagreeing honestly, expressing my real likes and dislikes, and standing up for my needs when it mattered. It's about showing people who you really are. When you live in alignment with your true self, you stop chasing confidence. It becomes a natural byproduct of your life. You stop needing constant approval from others because you have it from yourself. The relationships, respect, and happiness you gain are built on something real and lasting. That is the incredible power of self-fidelity. But be warned, focusing on this alone, without other key principles, can create new problems. So keep watching to see how to balance it correctly. Building real confidence isn't about learning a trick. It's about starting a practice of being true to yourself, one small action at a time. This is the kind of profound mindset shift we explore every week here at Minecraft. If you're ready to stop performing and start living an authentic life built on inner strength, hit that subscribe button and join our community of thinkers and doers. Your journey to mastering your mind begins right now.